Plateau State has experienced recurrent violence rooted in complex issues, including competition over land, ethnicity, religion, and political power. The most recent is the massive attacks launched on some communities in Boko's local government area of Plateau State last Wednesday. The death toll has now risen to over 60. The Plateau State government has condemned these attacks, saying some suspects have been arrested in connection with the killings. But joining us from our Abuja studio is a security expert, Patrick Agbambu. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you so much.
Again, Plateau State is in the news for this matters of killings and security issues. One too many, one would say, because over the years, talk about last year, 2023 and 2022, we had talked about these issues, and a lot of persons felt that this was being addressed head on. But we are still seeing these matters rear their ugly heads, where people are attacked. And the question is, what really is going on, or what really is fueling these attacks that we see happen in Plateau State?
Yeah, thank you. In the incident that happened the 2nd of April 2025, I must say was very unfortunate and terrible, and must be condemned by every well-meaning individual because Nigeria should not be losing its citizens at the whims and caprices of some criminals who commit mayhem here and there. But direct to your question, I would say that there are remote and immediate causes of these issues, and some of these causes are still not being addressed headlong. That is why the problem is still lingering, and it's sad that this thing has been happening for decades until now. The country has not been able to find a lasting solution. Yes, last year, 2025, there was some, what will I say, some succor, because it seemed to, it went down up till this incident that started happening in February, because we're talking about 2nd April, but this issue started from 2nd February, from February this year, 27th February precisely, and when this issue got out of hands. I think that it's time for the people on the plateau and the government.
What in specific terms are these issues?
Yeah, it's a what?
What in specific terms are these issues?
Yes, first let's look at, like your intro did say, the remote causes is the struggle for land and resources, and the disagreement over indigenship and citizenship and all those issues. But beyond that is the discontent that is so rooted in the hearts of the people living on the plateau, of the plateau's citizens, whether you are a non-indigenous, quote and unquote, because I believe that the Nigerian Constitution does not describe any Nigerian citizen as a non-indigenous anywhere, but some people are the the owners of the land, but some people have come to settle for over centuries now, and so calling them non-indigenous becomes contrary to what the Constitution of the Federal Republic says, and this is where the main issue is. And I think that the solution to all this is the Nigerian government sitting up and taking the format that was introduced in Rwanda after the Tutsis and Hutsis crisis, to say, look, nobody must call anybody anything. When you are caught doing that, you must be dealt with severely, and that will be what will solve this problem. We cannot continue in this light. The military, they are trying. In fact, if not for the military, I believe that by now nobody will be living on the plateau as we speak. They are trying their best, but there's an extent they can do. The civil authority and the people, they have more to do in making sure that there is love among themselves. We can't continue with this hate because both sides are losing their people. Both sides are losing both people and resources. And so I don't think any well-meaning person will want to continue in this situation unless the person believes that he's gaining from the lives and bloods of people that are being wasted.
All right. According to Brigadier General Gaji Shipi, who is the coordinator of Operation Rainbow, that is saddled with the responsibility of taking care of security in Plateau State, there is no actual reason. They have not found an actual reason for this attack, but it has destroyed so much. 383 houses and over 60 people have died. What is your take on the security posture of our security organizations in Nigeria? More reactive or proactive?
Yeah, I think first of all, we must get it right that as such, late yesterday night, the casualty figure in terms of deaths is still at 37, and contrary to some of the figures that are being spread across, because whoever thinks that there is more than that, I think the best thing is to provide evidence of where those people were recovered, because the military decided to do a cleanup of the whole area, and bodies that were recovered were were duly buried, and of course the wrecking is still going on, search and rescue for those who must have escaped. And I tell you that over hundreds of people were rescued and taken care of immediately after the incident that happened. But to say that there is no possible cause for this, it's half truth, I must say, because I know that the recent incident that started, that culminated to this April 2nd we're talking about, it can be traced back to in February, where there have been attacks and reprisal attacks. There have been several attacks, and the military have always come in to ensure that it doesn't spread more than it is. And you know, one situation and the truth that Nigerians must understand is that the security forces cannot be everywhere. These communities we don't have enough forces that will be in every community or every road leading to every community. It's when there are attacks that they can be called upon. Then secondly, intelligence, because it seems that some of these people causing these issues are living within. They are not coming from outside some of these communities. So they all live and it interrelates until when there is an issue. The last situation, I must say, was that some youths chased away some worshippers during the Salah prayer on Salah day, and of course there were disagreement, and someone was killed, and this must have resulted to this recent reprisal attack. Okay. I think that the issue is that both sides of the divide are not helping issues. So it's time for government. I say, when I mean government, I mean that government with all its powers now must sit up and ensure that anybody who instigates any trouble, whoever you are, whether you are highly placed or not, whether you're a political figure or traditional ruler, whoever you think you are, must be dealt with instantly, because it's beginning to look like people can do anything and the rest of the citizens can be killed for no justifiable reasons. And I think that it's enough for what is happening, and the government, it's not the security forces this time around, it's the government. And when I mean the government, the political leaders must call a spade and ensure that they do the needful by constituting immediately an enforcement committee that will be made up from all stakeholders involved in this situation, with the security forces also being part of it, right, to monitor from community to community. Anybody who is spreading hate must be arrested and be dealt with instantly.
That's right. Mr. Bambo, if you look at it, it is often said that some individuals actually profit from insecurity, and then there had been relative peace over maybe over a long period of time, but they are not happy about the peace. So if you look at, because some of the issues that had happened before, it has always been tagged to either farm damage, cattle theft, but this time there's no obvious reasons. Who do you think might be behind these attacks? And who are these sponsors that you think, are being probably one way or the other fingered at? If you look at the dynamics, the tactics that they employed in staging these attacks, these recent attacks.
You see, let me tell you, one of the problems that we are having in this country, not just on the plateau, but across, is when you indoctrinate a child with hate, believing or saying that your own tribe is superior to the other tribe. The other tribe contributes nothing or brings nothing to the table. You are creating a monster for tomorrow. When you believe that no matter whatever the other tribe does, that it's parasitic or whatever you want to call it, then you are creating a problem that whenever that child sees somebody from that tribe, there is this hatred, there is this animosity that grows. And any little disagreement or misunderstanding will escalate to the point of what we're talking now, death. On the plateau and in some communities in Nigeria, some people have indoctrinated their youths to believe that anybody who is not from their stock is not worthy to be in their land. And that is where the problem is. We are creating a generation of people who will continue to become a problem in the society by the kind of upbringing some people are breathing into the... Imagine when you see leaders of some of these tribes on the plateau or in some other places saying that they will not agree until this is done, until that is done, until that is done. Then there will never be peace. Peace is that we must all come together. There must be some compromise. There must be some consequences for even the previous actions done, so that people can have some peace. I'll tell you that, like I said earlier, the Operation Safe Haven on the plateau and the environment, if not for what they're doing, I'll tell you that by now, on the plateau and even in the Benue situation will have been worse than what we're having. But it cannot continue like this. The roads are terrible for these security services to even be able to assess some of these communities. And so it requires a civil authority to sit up and do their work. But as we speak, the civil authority, both at the local government, the state government, and the federal, has failed the people, and that is what we are seeing today.
But you know that it was stated that the governor has said the pain of the people is my pain, and we can see that he's showing solidarity to them. But one will think that we must have learned from what happened in 2023, where we saw that it was a Black Christmas, where over 200 people were killed in neighboring villages, and also this Buku's village was involved. Now my question is, are we really hammering on the security part, or we are waiting for something to happen before we start deploying people? Now, are we really hammering on our borders in terms of security? Because this is one of the reasons why this keeps occurring, lack of security.
Let me tell you from the knowledge I have, particularly here on the plateau. After this noise we are seeing now, then everybody will just withdraw back and continue as normal. Nothing is being implemented, nothing is being done, or leaving the security forces to just be bearing the brunt. I tell you that the only peace or the only meeting, the only gathering to resolve some of all these anticipatory issues were conducted by Operation Safe Haven. The political forces that there, because they are struggling for power, do not consider it as important as seeking for peace and implementing measures that will entrench this peace. That is the situation. It's easier for someone to say that I feel the pain of the people, but deep down, what are you doing towards taking care of this situation? And that is where I disagree with some of the utterances and the rhetorics of some of this political class. I think that it's time for them to put their foot on the ground and call a spade a spade. We know what the problem is on the plateau. We know what the solution is. Why is it difficult to begin to implement this solution so that we can stop losing valuable lives? Every drop of blood matters, and that is what should be the primary responsibility of any responsible government.
Interesting. And based off of what you have just said, it seems like from your perspective, the political leadership and every other person are seemingly paying lip service to addressing this matter. And it is still reverberating as it is. But you asked one critical question that from your perspective, I'd like to understand. Why do you think it is now difficult for them, knowing that the number of people that have been lost are critical to the state, properties, and all of it, we are seeing the damage being done to the state. Don't they have implications? That's on the one hand. On the other hand, you talked about this matter of ensuring peace, that the people need to see themselves as one, as against this hate-love relationship. But we have had situations where there have been peace accord or peace pact of programs put together to ensure peace in the state. Why is it still breaking down? How is it that that hasn't even resolved this matter? Yeah,
you know, somebody said that if it's the issue of conferences, seminars, summit, Nigeria is #1. We can have so many peace accords signed. The major problem, both that is fueling insecurity in the country, is nobody is paying for their deeds. Nobody, no consequences for actions taken. If some of those peace accords have been implemented, even up to 60% of it, I believe that we won't be where we are today. But as soon as these peace accords are signed, photographs are taken, they shake hands and all that, that is the end. Everybody goes back to their position. I will not accept, I will not accept. And some people will say, no, why did you even sign that? There will be a lot of disagreement. This is what has been happening. And I tell you that the situation is that some people believe that when there's crisis, they profit from it in terms of political upliftment, in terms of financial upliftment. And those people will never want peace to exist, and that is where we are. And those people are identified. They are not spirits. They are human beings. They are living within the communities. Security forces, the intelligence agencies. I will also say here that the intelligence agencies needs to do more than they are doing. They need to infiltrate some of all these communities. Yes, even though the numbers they are not enough to be able to cover all these ground. How many are there? And in terms of a lot of these crises are spread across the Federation as we speak. But we need to be able to, manage this crisis before they break out. And that is by monitoring implementation of some of all these peace accords that have been signed. They are not being monitored. Nobody is being held responsible if any bit of that, any letter of those accords are being violated. People just believe that there's nothing. Now, about 20 persons have been arrested, arising from the April 2nd attack. We're not saying, okay, will there be justice? Will there be fairness? Will there be consequences for this? Now it will be the political classes, again, that will now start putting pressures on the security forces to tamper justice, to do this. Interfering with security issues is where we are, why we are where we are today. I think that if somebody has been arrested and investigation has been thoroughly done, let justice take its course. Nobody will say it's from my side or it's from my side. No. The person has killed, the person has either aggravated the situation by utterance, by the words he or she has said, either online, because a lot of fake news are spreading online. A lot of people come on television and fuel this crisis we are talking about. They must be held responsible for these things that we're talking about. Until then, they will continue having to experience this all over the country.
My concern is the security infrastructure in Nigeria. Do we have enough policemen? We seem to have so many incidences happening at the same time. Today we're talking about Bokos local government area in Plateau State. Tomorrow we might be talking about another place, God forbid. How can we manage all these things with the security lapses that we have, our security infrastructure is not proactive. We're always reactive. After the fact, we see all these police vehicles, show of strength and all that. What advice would you have for the government to forestall all these occurrences?
Yeah, one thing that troubles me is that over the years, the civil policing, which is the Nigerian police and all other, both even the intelligence group, they are continuously failed in their work. As we speak now, every year it's like the level of what they are supposed to do is dropping because they are not doing much what they should do. They are losing confidence of the people, and so the people are resorting to either trying to self-help. On the Plateau, there are so many militia groups. They are every community have their own militia groups, arms, illegal arms all over. You know, the problem, it's not by setting up your own militia group to retaliate when there is an attack. No, I believe that peace accord must be respected. If all over the country, it's not just only on the Plateau. We're talking about, just like you said, on the Plateau. Just a few days ago, there was an incident that happened also in Benue. We're still waiting because one thing I said is that when an issue happens, there some noise will happen at that moment, after which we all forget and nothing, no consequences, nobody is being punished. If anybody is held responsible, let the whole people know. It will help to deter other people from being. But when you keep it quiet and nobody is being told what is the actions being taken, then that is where people are emboldened to continue to commit this crime. You know, this police we have today, I tell you that they're incapacitated and they won't be able to handle the quantum and the magnitude of the security challenges we're having in this country, because over the years, the quality of what is being, their output is dwindling, and that is the big challenge. And the military cannot be everywhere. So I think that we must, as a matter of urgency, national emergency, if we must say that, to look at how we can restructure the actions of the police. If we need, we'll talk about injecting more policemen, you know, getting more equipment. All these things are there. We'll know what to do. But the government seems not to have implemented some of all these things. And that is where we're going round the circle. There's need to change, to reform the intelligence format, the way we gather intelligence. In those days, like I always tell people, you know, the next neighbor you have may be an intelligence person gathering information about you without you knowing. You know, people just
Mr.
don't even know who
sorry to interrupt you. Sorry,
but today it's not like that.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Is that not a reasonable ground for us to now begin to call, the advocacy for the state police? You know, you are speaking along that line. Because as of December 2024, all 36 state governors submitted their own reports, you know, for the creation of the state police. But we do not know, you know, the details of what they do. But then Ekiti state government, for instance, was in support, and some other states say, no, this would be, you know, hijacked or used to their own advantage. But is it not enough ground for us now to say, yes, let's have our state police for all the states, for all the subnationals?
No, I think it's not that. That is not the solution, because that will rather create some other problems that we'll now look for how to solve. You know, I think that the state police, like is being said and is being promoted currently, it's something that, yes, Nigeria may eventually get. But for now, there are foundations that needs to be laid, which has not been done in terms of actually controlling, having a system that will control the political class, because these are the people that will fuel the problems that we'll have when we have state police. Right now, as we speak, you know, when we talk, even as we talk about police not having enough manpower, most of the police officers and personnel we have are even with the political class providing one security or the other, and so they are not even enough to provide the general security that we require. Then when you have state police, you are going to create another set of persons that will create problems. Like, for instance, if we have a state police and the political class, if we are not of the same political class or ideology and all that, then there will be challenge. You may not be able to come into my state, and all those things are there. Those instances, so gradually, if we can sit down and start working out the way to circumvent all these other challenges, then we can now start talking about state police. It's not just easy and just straightforward to say, let us bring state
exactly,
police.
But
it's
quickly,
not, but for me, it's not the right time.
Because of our time, let me ask you this quickly. A lot of lives have been lost, a lot of properties have been destroyed. So far, what is the government doing for the citizens, the ones that have not been affected, or even the ones that have lost their properties? What are they doing? And if yes, they're doing something, is it enough?
Yes, you see, no matter whatever you give any victim of this crisis, no matter what you provide, succor, yes, some palliative, yes, it will not, return the loss they have experienced. But I know that the government of in Plateau State are doing some. Even the security forces, the Operation Safe Haven, is also providing some succor for those who were rescued and all that. You know, yes, they are doing. But of course, like I said, it's not enough, and it can never be enough. I think that we should not continue in this situation. I think that people who are able, private individuals, can also try to see how to support by providing some succor, some support for these people who have been deprived of their homes, who have been their source of livelihood have been taken away from them and all that. But more importantly, the government needs to sit down and implement a format, a solution that will help us to solve this problem so that it will not be reoccurring again.
Absolutely. That's a fine place to leave the conversation. Security expert Patrick Agbambo, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.